Hey y'all, what's up? My name is Gabby. Welcome back. Today I want to talk about recovering from broken relationships, bouncing back, and putting more time and energy into the relationships that you want to build after having heartbreak, healing, and being on this journey of transformation. There's a lot of dialogue about how when you want to get into your mode, when you want to get into your zone, you got to ghost everybody, you got to go monk mode, go in your cocoon, however they want to put it, so that you can start putting in the work for yourself. You know, they tell you to disappear for a certain amount of months and come back. And though I do feel like, depending on the person, that could actually be beneficial for you to be able to focus. Me having done a few of these things myself, coming out of the end of it, of course, you know, there's still continual work in some areas that we'll always have to do. I still am on my journeys and have work to do, but for the most part, coming from the other end of this, I can really see how hurtful that was to many of my relationships. There was a point in time, like years ago, when I was constantly giving my time to people. I always text back. I always text back quick. I was always wanting to call people and check in, especially when I first moved to Washington. It was so bad. Like, I was burning myself all the way out trying to stay connected with people who honestly weren't even trying to stay connected to me. Things like that added to the wormhole I was in that eventually led me to going on a healing journey. I moved so far away from my family, and then these people that I thought cared about me kind of just like continue to live their life without me. And not only that, when I make myself present, acting like they have the opportunity to see me whenever they want to. And once I started experiencing a lot of that, I really stopped hitting people up. Also because I was starting to realize, like, oh shoot, I'm a people pleaser. Yuck. I didn't like that about myself. I was getting burnt out. At the time, I didn't know my oldest child had ADHD yet, but wow, it was really a struggle, and I just got sick of giving so much of my time to people. So I started standing 10 toes on me, and over the years it created me to be more isolated than I could have ever imagined, because I wasn't hitting people up like that. I wasn't hearing from people. People started saying things like, oh, I don't ever call you because you busy all the time, or oh, you're a bad texter, you never text us back. It's like I went from one end of the spectrum to the other. So all of that is kind of what was snowballing over the years that got me to the point where I'm like, you know what, I'm about to go in my cocoon. I stopped posting on social media and all that. And though I got a lot of work done, and it showed me who was really for me and who really wasn't, now that I'm at a place of a more secure and peaceful foundation with myself, my family, and my Lord, I'm looking around and I really miss the connection, you know what I mean? And I see how much work I actually have to do. For example, I really don't have the relationship I would really adore and love to have with my nieces and my nephews. Now, 90 to 95% of my family lives in North Carolina, and I live in Washington State. So there's a 3-hour difference. So there's already a huge barrier there. I honestly feel like, which just could be biased, but I feel like when you live close to your friends and your family, it's much easier to connect with them, because you can just drop by, you see each other at a family event, things like that, to be able to continue to cultivate that bond, or at least that presence of having each other around. But I don't have that benefit, or what I now consider a luxury, for me and my children, because we are so far away. Some people may feel the same way as you do, but they're not going to do the work. But I do feel that I'm in a space where I am ready to initiate and do what I can to start cultivating some real relationships. Now, I'm not putting all of this on myself, because communication is a two-way street, and I feel just the way people lack communicating with me, I lack communicating with them. Like, it's, you know, it takes two to tango. So when it comes to recovering from these broken relationships, I think it's important for us to first evaluate ourselves and that person as individuals, and in the relationship as a whole. There are some relationships in my life that were very important to me that have just slowly broken over time. I think part of overcoming some of these relationships that don't work out is realizing that they just don't work out. Like, y'all are just two different people on two different wavelengths. And you know, sometimes you can love somebody and somebody can love you, but if they still have a lot of hurt and stuff inside, if they still feel secret ways about you, or even about themselves, that they're not dealing with or even confronting, you're just constantly gonna bump heads. That's a situation I have with a couple of people that, I don't know, I just feel something against, like they have something, I just feel like the person or the people have something against me that they just won't say. and it just always creates this sort of resistance, and I kind of get boxed out. There's another friendship. We were friends for a really long time, and I found myself after the friendship fell apart just very angry, you know? I felt like she didn't even try to help me because I was constantly telling her how I felt, trying to have these conversations, and it constantly just kept falling to the wayside. And I'm like, dang. And even still, like, I met a friend here in Washington. I really adored this girl. Like, she was becoming like a sis to me, and I don't really know what it was. Like, she kept like flaking on me, but then when we would talk about it, she was like super apologetic, you know. She was cool with me, like we were really cool. We even went on vacation together one time, and I don't know, it was just like after I got pregnant with my son and I gave birth, I sent her a picture, you know. She said she wanted to come out and meet him. I'm like, yeah, come out whenever. She just ghosted me, and I just really haven't talked to her since. And after that, after her, I was just like, I never been team no new friends, you know. I always kind of been open to meeting new people, but that one really hurt, and I really wasn't interested in meeting anybody new after that. And I did, but she approached me, and approached me kind of aggressively, honestly. But I respected her persistence and wanting a new friend. I went into that friendship way sooner than I was prepared for. My heart just wasn't open, you know. And so it ended up just creating a lot of conflict within myself. So honestly, it's really important to look at these relationships as something that you do have to heal and recover from. You know when you're ready, and you know when you're not. If you did what you could in that relationship, you really have to sit back and take some time to look at the situation and look at you to be able to move on from that. Don't put yourself back in anything too soon. Even if it's not a new relationship or a new friendship and it's that same person coming back around, you are entitled to have that time to be able to recoup mentally and emotionally and even spiritually if you need to. Because honestly, y'all, like, come on, our time is everything, and you really start to realize that the older that you get, you really don't have time to just be passing around. So you deserve that respect, whether somebody is really open to give it to you or not. Just like they had their feelings and reservations and had them when they did whatever they did or moved on you how they moved, you have that same right. People will sometimes do things to be funny, you know, send real subliminal messages, or sometimes they won't. They're really just out there being themselves, and you still feel some type of way. You really have to start reminding yourself. Like I say, sometimes being a friend to yourself. I seen something the other day that just really had me like, wow. And I got up this morning realizing that, like, yo, this is still kind of bothering me. So as I was getting ready for my day and I was thinking about it, I was just like, no, they don't get to make me feel like that. They don't get to make me feel like that anymore. I've already dealt with that for an X amount of time, and I'm not that girl anymore. I'm a new person. I'm a new woman, so I'm not gonna let anybody let me feel like that. You gotta stand 10 toes and talk to yourself like a real one. Like, no, they don't get that opportunity. They don't get that chance. They've already made me feel so many other different ways before, so I'm not going to do that. And then use that as a reminder that, hey, I did what I was able to do. I did what was within my realm of capability, and that's all I have. I want to live my life free and happy, and I want to live my life surrounded by people who care about me, you know, people who actually want to talk to me and want to pour into me and allow me to pour into them. And if I can't get that from this person or these people, or they make me feel a certain type of way about my total existence, then it's just not it. When you're going through something, or you're going through a healing phase, and you see or experience something that hurts you, it really, really hurts. But it's another level when you've done the work and you went through the process of healing, and then something kind of makes you feel like you're about to retract. It's like, no, I didn't put in all that time and that hard work just to let somebody pull me back down to a space where I know I've already come from. And when it comes to building relationships, starting a new social life, you actually have to be ready. There are some things that I want, but part of me feels like I'm not ready to do, and I know that I am. It's just going to require me to be uncomfortable, because part of rebuilding your social life, or building a social life in general, is going to come with some level of discomfort. I'm not used to being on the phone all the time or calling people all the time. I don't even really know how to do that, because I'm gonna have to learn how to like rework that into my schedule. There's a few people that just never want to call me or never want to text me, and are just like, oh, you're always so busy. And it's like, who's not, you know? Like, that's just kind of my thing. I just feel like we probably all are busy. So, you know, if it's like that, just text me first or something. Reconnecting, y'all, you know, sometimes it only just takes a little text or a little call every now and again, you know, just to let somebody know you are loved, I missed you, and I'm thinking about you. I know that there's going to be times where I might be busy, and if somebody calls me, I need to answer the phone. I know there's going to be times where I just want to chill for a second right now because I've been busy all day, but this is a good block of time for me to call somebody or to check in and text somebody. Like, that stuff is uncomfortable to me because for the longest time it hasn't been in my routine. There are other things like church. I'm not a part of an active church right now. There was a period of time where I was actively looking for churches, and I was just not, it just wasn't working. For the longest time I blamed it on this area. If you've been to Washington or to the West Coast at all, you know what I'm talking about. It's just different over here, and I just really didn't find like coming to any churches that gave me that homey feeling. And you know, I was able to skate by with that for a while, but I do feel like I'm at a point where it's like, no girl, you're gonna have to go back out there and find a church. Like, there's a church for you somewhere. And you know, I didn't grow up in church either, so this is different for me. But I do know that I need to find more spiritually and like-minded individuals to connect with. Not saying we have to be friends, but you know, just that support system that I have to start building up. I'm also a part of a sorority. I'm an SGRO. When I first moved here 7 years ago, I looked for a chapter and I saw that it was inactive. But I recently went to an event on Juneteenth and I saw them there posted with their tent, and I connected with these ladies, and I've been reconnecting with these ladies and been thinking about reinitiating to do more in the community, reconnect and rejoining my sisterhood. You know, the parts of the right parts of the reason for somebody to join a sorority. And though there's a part of me that wants to do it, there's also a part of me is just like, I just have a lot of stuff going on, and I know that's that part of me that just got comfortable in my little bubble. But if you really want that, which you know you do, you're going to have to move your schedule around. You're going to have to give away your time. But the point is that it will be worth it. There's never been a time where I did talk to somebody on the phone or I did go to some social event, and at the end of it, even though as an introvert I am truly physically, mentally taxed, there's not a time where I feel like I wish I wouldn't have gone. I don't ever feel like I shouldn't have called, or I shouldn't answer the phone, or I shouldn't have went to that event, or I shouldn't have showed up, because I know I'm giving myself something that I need. Humans need physical interaction, and as many people that are out here that they say they have zero friends or they don't want any friends, it shouldn't be that way. As an introvert, I do like to spend some part of my time alone, so I get that. But even introverts really desire and appreciate close relationships. I don't think there's anybody out here who just truly wants to be alone. And if they do feel like they want to be alone, I would bet that there's some sort of trauma or something that happened in their life that made them feel like they don't like people and that they're better off by themselves. It takes time and energy to build relationships, to build a social life. Yeah, you have situations where people are halfway in, halfway out. People are flaky, they end up turning on you, your schedules conflict, and all of those negative parts of trying to build a social life. But there are so many positive parts too. There's networking, there's understanding people more, people understanding you, connecting with people who get it, having someone pour into and that can pour into you, people to bounce ideas off of, or just enjoy a space with, you know what I mean? We're in this time of life where it's so easy to be distant because we have social media. We can just connect really quick with somebody on social media, or send somebody a picture something and feel like, ooh, you know, checking the checkbox, I'm good, you know, did that, we're set. But the older we get, the more our connections mean. And I really started thinking about this because one of my younger sisters, my dad's side, hit me up, you know, all of the storms and everything, and she just wanted to check in. I hadn't talked to her in a long time. I didn't grow up around her because she lived in Georgia, I think, most of all her life, so I didn't really have too much of a relationship with her, or even really started talking to her much until after our dad died. But in our conversation, she was wanting to check in and everything. She was just expressing how the older she gets, the more that she wants to be around me and her other sisters. And when she said that, it really touched me, because it's like, dang, she's in her early 20s and she's already understanding this that so many of us are missing right now. The older you get, the more you realize that yeah, you want the fun, you want the money, you want the experiences and all of that, but at the end of the day, it's about connection, the people you have in your life. What's the point of having all of that if you don't have anybody to talk to, anybody to connect to, anybody who gets it? You know what I'm saying? As a mother and a newlywed, y'all, sis is married now. I have put a lot of time not only into myself but into the people under my household. One of the biggest things I have learned over the past couple of years, or not even really the past couple of years, honestly, probably the past year, is the people who you live with, the people under your household, especially if it's a new family that you are creating, means so much. And it's so important to keep your mind, your heart at home, to be able to build a comfortable life for yourself and the people around you in your home. Now, it's not like I didn't know that that was important before. My mind and just my heart just wasn't all the way in my house. You know, I was constantly pledging my allegiance, my time and attention to people outside of my home, which was debilitating to everybody in my household in the end, because though I do have other family and I still love them and care for them and want to be there for them, I have to be here for my family first. This is the family that I'm creating. These are the children that I'm putting out into the world. And this relationship, which is now ordained by God through marriage, is so important for me to continue to pour into. But I'm noticing too that there are a lot of people out here that do have this sort of lifestyle that keep it at home, but it's like hurtful. I really think it's important for you to build up that home security, but also for you to be able to show your children that, hey, I still have a relationship with my friends, I still have a relationship with my siblings and my cousins, so the kids can see that. It's good for them to see that social interaction, and then it will promote them to have better relationships too, more extended relationships as well, other than people that are just around them. I was telling one of my friends the other day, yeah, I'm a mom, I have 2 kids, yes, I'm a wife, I have a family, but I realized that at some point my children are going to grow up and go do their thing. And though I'll still have my husband, God willing, just like I want him to stay connected to his friends, I want to stay connected to mine. Just like I want to stay connected to my other siblings and cousins and things, I want that for him too, for both sides of our family. It's not just my family or his family now, it's our family. So we've taken on even more responsibility as individuals. Sometimes it feels like too much work and you don't want to do it, but honestly it is a lot of work. I think it's one of those things that really is truly sacrificial, and you reap the benefits currently, but you reap them the most as you get older. I feel that same way about having children. It's definitely a sacrifice, and there are times where it really is hard, especially when you have a child that has extra or needed attention or needs. It can get exhausting, but it's one of those things that you put in the time now, even when it's hard and it's exhausting, and you reap the benefits in the time to come. It's hard losing relationships that you really wanted to work out. Even if you're that person who decided to stop talking to somebody or dealing with somebody, that hurts too. Whether you have something going on internally that you don't realize and you pushing people away, or if it's a situation where you actually had to step away, I don't think it makes it hurt any less. It just presents itself in a different sort of way. There's a time and a season for everything, and this may be your time to come out of your box. This may be your time to come out of your time of isolation. Whether you're still in the process of doing this work or you're coming near the end of it, it's important for us to keep people around. The people that really love you, you know, and not taking anything personally, may still be there. You may weed some people out that just left and never come back, but it wasn't meant for you to be alone for so long or to go through so much stuff by yourself. I really want to connect more, which is challenging sometimes, because someone who is very aware of her social battery and doesn't always like to constantly interact. I do want to. Sometimes it's just hard for me, but that doesn't stop me from actually wanting that, because those are the things that make me full. That validation, people be stumping on validation all the time, like you don't need validation, da da da, and in some situations we don't, but sometimes validation is really good. We need people who understand, we need people who get it, and sometimes we be tripping and we do need that validation from somebody else who really understands and who cares, and I value that from the real ones in my life. I value that from y'all. It's like, even with social media, I really do struggle with being on social media like that. That same friend I was talking to was telling me that when she takes her social media breaks, by the time she gets back on social media, she feels overwhelmed and she feels anxiety when it comes to posts. Like, she doesn't know what to post, how to post, when to post, where to post. And I was so blown away, because I'm like, girl, what? I feel that same way, and I don't feel so crazy. I don't know if it's just the way social media has changed over time or what, but I know every time I go to post, I feel so behind that I don't even know what to post. Or even when I do get ready to post, now I'm thinking like, okay, how can I follow up this next post? You know, and it's really not even that deep. It's really even not that deep. Recovering after broken relationships takes time. Those relationships, you gotta think, you were totally invested in. They took up space in your mind. They took up space in your life. Even the ones that were toxic, you kind of created a pattern in your life that you have become accustomed to. We need community for internal reasons, spiritual reasons, mental reasons, networking reasons. We need each other, and I appreciate every single one of y'all. I love y'all so much, and peace and love.